Have you ever found yourself agreeing to something you didn't want to do, simply because saying no felt too uncomfortable? Maybe it was lunch with someone who drains your energy, or a favor that left you exhausted, or smiling through a conversation where you didn't really feel seen. I used to think this was just part of being kind, until I realized it was quietly wearing me down. Somewhere along the way, especially for those of us born in the middle of the 20th century, we were taught to be agreeable, polite, keep the peace, don't make waves. And for decades I followed that script. I was the one who picked up the phone when it rang, even if I was tired. The one who baked the pie for someone else's gathering, even if I had a full plate at home. I said yes because I thought it made me generous, loving, valuable. But after 70, something shifted. Not overnight. Not because of one dramatic moment, but slowly, deeply. I began to realize how much of my life I had spent bending to be liked, bending to be helpful, bending not to be judged. And at a certain point my body felt it, literally. The tension in my neck, the pit in my stomach, the quiet resentment that would creep in after doing something I didn't actually want to do. I started asking myself, what if being kind didn't mean being available to everyone at all times? What if peace didn't come from pleasing but from being? That's when I gave myself permission to stop trying to please everyone. And that's what we're talking about today. This video is for anyone who's ever felt guilty for setting boundaries. For anyone who's ever put themselves last in the name of love or duty. And especially for those of us over 60 who finally earned the right to choose peace over performance. Before we go deeper, if this message already feels like something you needed to hear, go ahead and subscribe and tap the bell so you don't miss any more of the empowering, heart-centered content we share every week. Your support means the world to me and this growing community of wise, compassionate people learning how to live with more honesty and ease. If something in this video resonates with you, click the like button, share it with someone who needs to hear this too, and leave a comment. What's one thing you've stopped doing just to please others? Let me share the first moment I noticed something needed to change. It was my 71st birthday. My daughter had planned a lovely little brunch at her house, and I was genuinely looking forward to it. But that morning, a friend called in a panic, asking if I could drive across town to help her rearrange her garage for a delivery. Normally, I would have said yes in a heartbeat. That's who I had always been, the fixer, the helper. But something in me paused. My coffee was warm in my hand, the sun was pouring in through the window. And I thought, why am I about to cancel my joy for someone else's disorganization? For the first time, I said no, gently, kindly, but firmly. I told her I had plans, and that I trusted she'd figure it out, and she did. That moment was tiny on the surface, but it was a thunderclap inside me. I realized how often I'd pushed aside my own wants and rhythms to keep everyone else comfortable, and it was costing me more than I knew. Saying no wasn't about becoming selfish. It was about becoming sovereign. I started noticing how much energy I had when I didn't drain it in the wrong places. I felt lighter, more rooted, and for the first time in years I felt like I was truly coming home to myself. Let's stay with that feeling, and gently explore what else shifts when we stop living for everyone else's approval. Because once you stop asking, will they be upset if I don't, and start asking, what do I need in this moment? Something quiet and powerful begins to unfold inside you. Not a loud rebellion, not a dramatic exit from your old life. Just a gentle return to who you really are when nobody's watching. That's what happened to me after that birthday. I didn't become cold or distant. I still cared deeply for the people in my life. I still offered help, but the help started coming from a full cup, not an empty one. I began checking in with myself before I gave my time, my energy, or even my attention. And let me tell you, when you're over 70, those things become more valuable than money. You begin to realize that your energy is a currency, and you only have so much to spend each day. I noticed it most in the little things, I stopped answering calls during my quiet morning coffee. That was my time. I didn't jump up every time someone knocked on my door. I waited to see if it was worth breaking my peace. I began saying things like, "That won't work for me," without explaining myself. And to my surprise, the world didn't end. People adjusted. And the people who truly respected me, they understood. They didn't need me to shrink to love me. But the hardest part wasn't dealing with others. It was dealing with my own inner voice. That little voice that said, "You're being difficult. You're being selfish. You're not doing enough." That voice had lived inside me for decades, shaped by years of trying to keep everyone happy. And for a while it still whispered when I said no. But slowly that voice grew quieter, and a new one emerged, a voice that said, "You matter too. Your rest matters. Your peace matters." And maybe that's the shift that comes after 70. Not that you stop caring about others, but that you finally, truly start caring about yourself with the same tenderness you've shown to everyone else. You've spent years showing up for people, years saying yes. Now is the time to make sure you are showing up for you. Someone once told me, "No is a full sentence." But I think at this stage in life, it's more than that. It's a gift. Every time we say no to what drains us, we say yes to what nourishes us. Yes to peace, yes to truth, yes to spending your days how you choose, not how others expect you to. And here's the most surprising part. When I stopped trying to please everyone, I didn't lose people. I found people. People who loved the real me. People who respected my time. People who didn't want me to perform. They just wanted me to be. And that kind of connection is deeper, calmer, sweeter. So if something inside you is nodding right now, if you've been tired of bending, tired of always being available, tired of putting yourself last, I want you to know, you're not alone. And you don't have to explain your boundaries to anyone who doesn't respect them. You've earned the right to live on your own terms, not in spite of your age, but because of it. Breathe that in for a moment. Let it settle. And stay with me as we explore how this freedom can ripple out into every corner of your life. Because once you taste that kind of freedom, the freedom that comes from no longer chasing approval, you start to realize just how much of your life was shaped by the quiet fear of disappointing someone. A friend, a child, a sibling, even a stranger. And when that fear loosens its grip, something beautiful rushes in to take its place. Clarity. Clarity about who you are when you're not performing. Clarity about what truly brings you peace. And clarity about how you want to spend this precious, unrepeatable season of life. Because if there's one thing that living past 70 teaches you, it's that your time is not a rehearsal. It's now. I began to notice how many invitations I had accepted, just because I didn't want to appear rude. Dinners I didn't enjoy, events I didn't care about, conversations that left me drained. But the more I said no to what felt wrong, the more space I created for what felt right. Quiet mornings, walks with friends who nourished my soul, books I never finished in my younger years because I was always rushing off to be somewhere, do something, prove something. And that's when I understood something I wish I'd learned decades earlier. Not every relationship deserves unlimited access to you. Some people love the version of you that gives endlessly, but disappear when you set a boundary. That's not love. That's convenience. And after 70, you get to outgrow convenient relationships. Now, I know this can stir up guilt, especially for those of us who were raised to be helpers, who were told that self-sacrifice was a virtue, who spent years putting out fires and smoothing over tension. But here's the thing. Being available to everyone isn't love. Real love respects your limits. Real connection doesn't ask you to disappear in order to stay close. And when you let go of the need to please everyone, you make room for something richer, self-trust. You begin to trust that your instincts are valid, that your discomfort is information, that it's okay, more than okay, to choose rest instead of obligation, presence instead of pressure, peace instead of pretending. One of the most powerful things I've done in recent years is keep a yes journal. Anytime I say yes to something, I write down how it made me feel. Did I feel full or depleted afterward? Energized or resentful? It helped me see patterns I hadn't noticed. And slowly my yeses became more honest, more joyful, and far less frequent. You don't have to swing from being a people pleaser to a hermit. It's not about isolation. It's about alignment. About learning to respond instead of react. About honoring your inner compass more than other people's opinions. And if you've ever felt afraid to disappoint someone, I want you to hear this. Disappointment is not the same as harm. You are allowed to let people down gently if it means lifting yourself up truthfully. That's not selfish. It's sacred. So take a moment now. Breathe. Let your shoulders drop. Let your jaw soften. Ask yourself gently, what do you need today that doesn't require anyone else's approval? And if that question lands somewhere deep, I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. What's one small way you're choosing yourself this week? You never know who else might need that permission too. If this video spoke to you, give it a like so more people can find it. Share it with someone who's been bending for too long. And if you haven't already, tap subscribe and hit the bell. Because around here, we believe growing older is not about fading out. It's about finally showing up as your fullest, freest self. Here's to more no thank yous, more honest yeses, and more peace than you ever thought possible. You've earned it.